it's an environment of like kill to get killed.
Because I can imagine, like, for the first 2 weeks or first week, probably you're in pre-season thinking Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba, these guys. But then after 2 weeks, it's like, okay, you're my teammate.
Because in New Hampshire, even if I had a bad game, I would have started the next one. In Miami, I knew that if I had a bad game, I wouldn't have started the next one.
What are the reasons why they won't make it to be a pro?
You realize that the level is actually like higher than what you thought. In the Miami environment, I was like, okay, I'm no one. I gotta earn everything.
How do you differentiate the level between a good college player and a pro player?
Resilience. I feel like a lot of people give up, after the first setback. A good college player with the right mindset can adapt and can evolve in a really good player.
Being exposed to like men's football, do you think that kind of shaped you ready for college?
I think that definitely men's football forms you better in terms of how prepared you are to get into college.
Yannick, what is your biggest strength as a footballer?
I would say my biggest strength as a footballer is it's my mindset. I think always try to improve, always try to grow, and it's obvious especially in the environment that I am right now, where I think the mental part plays a big role. It's tough to like just show up every day with the right mindset. So definitely my strength is.
Do you think your mindset was something that you were born with, or have you always had a strong mindset, or recently you really had to work on it?
Yeah, you know me. I've always had a strong mindset, didn't I? So I've always tried to be the best version of myself, and I always try to believe in myself, basically, and I think it paid off.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, just to introduce the podcast, we're here today joined by Yannick Bright. So Yannick and I played together at New Hampshire for a couple of years in college. He plays now for Inter Miami, obviously in the MLS, and we are going to be talking about a lot of things today. We're going to be talking about mindset, like we just touched on. We're going to be talking about like his story and his journey. I think Yannick has a really good story from kind of where he originated from to where he is now. He's pretty much at the start of his career, so we'll be talking about like his future plans. But really, for you guys trying to figure out like what you need to do, what really is the jump from like college to pro, and like things probably that you don't really think about. Being a professional footballer, you see on Instagram all the amazing things. You see, a stadium full of fans. But, there's a lot of things too that you don't really notice about. Last week or a couple of weeks ago, there was an episode with Bolu Academies. He plays in the USL Championship for Miami FC. And we were talking a lot about, like, off the field, like what you don't see, being injured, fighting for a contract, 1 year contract, being, in the spotlight and criticism if you're losing a game, But yeah, I'm excited to talk to Yannick today. So, Yannick, talk to us a little bit about who you are, for people that are watching this that are like, oh, cool, he plays for Inter Miami, but they don't really know where you came from or your background. What's kind of your soccer background?
Yeah, so, hello everyone, first of all. I'm from Italy. I grew up in a small town in Italy and started playing soccer really, really young in the team of my on my hometown, and then I moved to a little bigger club that is currently in 3rd division, where my brother plays, by the way. And then I moved to this 4th division team, which I think prepared me pretty well with to the next step, which was college. And playing with older people really teaches you a lot. So and then from there, college with you. Great experience, best 4 years of my life so far, and learned a lot, met new people, graduated, and now thankfully I've been able to get drafted, and I'm in Miami since last December. So
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, really good story. So for someone that's listening to this that's thinking like, wow, he wasn't at a big academy like Inter Milan, AC Milan. Yeah. Talk to us about the level you're playing at, because a lot of people will be like 4th division in Italy. Yep. How is that level? How would you kind of describe the level you're exposed to? Yeah,
obviously it's pretty good level. It's considered semi-professional, so it's not totally professional, but there's obviously players who played 2nd division, 3rd division, 1st division, some as well. So everybody's there, to feed their families. So it's an environment of like kill to get killed, you know. So you got to be there. You got to earn your spot, earn everything, and I think that prepares you pretty well for the next step, more than I would say an academy.
So what level were you exposed to fourth division? Were you 16, 17?
I was 17. Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
So when you're 17, going into that environment,
Yeah.
how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, you can't prepare for that. You can just adapt, I guess, adjust. Especially when you're that young and you're not used to it. Playing with like grown men, you know, and who's has got to feed their families. Like I said, it's tough. You can just adapt at that point. You know,
And what's the style of football there too? Because when you think about like Italian football, you think about like nice football, really defensive, organised, tactical.
That's exactly how it is.
Really,
it's more tactical than here for sure.
Yeah,
it's more focused on first touches and everything. But
is it physical?
Yeah, it's definitely physical, but there's way more tactics in it as well. You know what I mean? And it's I would say it's different playing for an academy than playing for a 4th division team, because I feel like an academy forms you better in terms of small details, you know, like how to position your body and everything.
It's more about development versus winning.
Yeah. Exactly. Which is something that I adapted into my game later on, rather than learning it from since when I was young.
It's interesting you said that, because I've been talking a lot recently about like academy football versus men's football, because for me, similar to yourself, I was exposed to men's football at like 16, 17.
Exactly.
So like there's players like, for example, Bilal, who were playing like academy football till he was like 18, 19, and Bilal was like first touch, second touch, so good in tight spaces. Whereas I was more like kind of knock it long, second balls, like to win the game, to be in good areas, you know. And you were very like into like winning the ball back, regaining possession. And like maybe in the tight spaces, I mean, obviously you were top, but maybe your game was more about like being effective and like advancing possession,
covering ground, and everything.
Exactly. So like, how important do you think being exposed to like men's football? Do you think that kind of shaped you ready for college?
Definitely. Because college, I feel like college looks more like that kind of football than the academy football. Because college is all about scoring goals, you know, and just like go where the ball is, you know, rather than stay there locked in, you know, with a tactical setup and everything. So I think that definitely men's football forms you better in terms of how prepared you are to get into college rather than academies.
So you're 17 years old playing 4th division in Italy.
Yeah.
At what point do you think I want to go to the US? Because you might have thought, well, I'm 17 playing 4th division. When I'm 18, 3rd division, 19, 2nd division. Yeah. Did you think about that, or why did you come to America?
I obviously thought about that. It's obviously that's obviously like everybody's dream, you know, back home, as you know. But one thing is, you know, being your dream. One thing is being achievable, you know, reachable. And at some point, you just gotta be honest with yourself, you know. And I was 18 and probably no hope to make it, you know. And at that point, I was my mindset switched to, okay, I need to like do something, you know, to like I gotta be smart. I gotta think about after besides my soccer career. So what do I do? How can I keep playing and, you know, play the sport that I love, but also being smart about what I'm gonna do after, you know. And I don't know, for casualty or for God's plan, you know, I received this message on Instagram saying, hey, do you want to play college football? And I was like, absolutely. So what did? I applied to this showcase, and I got selected by New Hampshire, and you know, I started playing while studying as well. So I mean, that ended up working out well.
That's an interesting mindset, because like at 16, 17, were your parents the ones telling you need to have a plan B, or was it coming from you?
Yeah, well, I've always thought about it too, but my parents were the ones that were pushing me to, you know, keep studying, and universities back home are quite expensive. And I figured I would have been better off with a scholarship rather than having to pay my own university and then trying to balance that with training and everything. You know?
So how did the New Hampshire offer come about? Did she come and watch you play in person, or did he watch the video?
Yeah, so she at the time was the assistant coach of Mark, and he showed up. They watched the video, and then I had a second showcase in which
Italy, in Milan.
Yes, in which she came directly to to see me and to talk to me. My English was terrible, but somehow we made it work. And and they offered me a scholarship on the spot. I've been able to talk to Mark on FaceTime as well, and that's how I met him. That's how they made a first contact with me, and then from there, the rest is history. So
did you have any other offers, or was it just UNH?
No, I did have a bit of offers. I had Clemson, but Clemson disappeared after a bit. So, and then I had other offers, Rhode Island, San Bonaventure, other offers. But
so what made, because I think Chi is a really good recruiter, right? Like when you're talking to him, he really makes you feel wanted.
Yeah.
And I remember calling Hubs, and Hubs was like doing the dishes with his 5 kids, so loud, like everything going on. He's like, yeah, man, how's your day going? I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, you?
Sounds about it.
But so when Chi was calling you to come to the US, like what made you pick New Hampshire versus the other schools?
I feel like at the time I knew nothing about college soccer and everything. So I think the president of my agency kind of helped me understand how well New Hampshire was placed at that time. And I think also she's really professional. Like you said, like it makes you feel wanted, and it's got this way to like talk you into his projects. You know what I mean? And kind of convince you of what he is convinced of. So as soon as I like heard him and saw him, and he talked to me like if he really really wanted me, and that made me feel really good about it. And I heard they were a really good team with a really good business school, so my decision was pretty easy at that point. Yeah.
So then you coming over to New Hampshire, when you were a freshman, it was COVID, wasn't it? So like it was a bit weird, all of the situation. When you first came to UNH, was it what you expected? Was it different to what you expected? Like how was your kind of...
It was better than what I expected.
Really? In terms of what, like level, in terms of the college experience?
In terms of life, yeah. In terms of level, I did not know what to expect, but the showcase was pretty good for me, went pretty well for me. So after that, it was just a matter of, getting into the team and see what the level was. And I think we had a couple trainings before the season started, in which I was, a little more confident of what I could have, brought to the team. But when we started playing, I realized that I was going to be okay. So.
Yeah, because I remember that spring I think we won like every game. I think the only game we lost was when
we lost was
in the tournament.
Final, yeah. So
your first season coming to New Hampshire and playing as a freshman, did you expect to play every minute of every game? Did you expect to be like the guy? Or
well, I was coming from a pretty good place back home, and I was on a good streak right before COVID started, and so my confidence was pretty high. And then obviously COVID happened, and it was just a matter of I keep grinding on that point. We had, I think, from March to August, in which I was all about running and doing gym in my house. So I prepared for it pretty well, I would say. And I think at that point maybe I didn't know if I was going to play every single game, every single minute of every single game, but I definitely prepared for that.
So you talked at the start a little bit about your mindset, how important your mindset was.
Yeah.
What was your mindset in college? Were you coming to college giving up on soccer? Like, I'm going to go play soccer, but I want to get my education. Soccer is a plan B. Were you coming like, I have to make the draft? Did your mindset kind of shift over your freshman to senior year? Like,
no, my mindset has always been being the best in football, no matter what, and also do well in classes. So, not that classes were second to soccer, but I was trying to put them at the same level. I would say I would give up on some social stuff, but for me, soccer and education were top one.
So when you say soccer and education is important, what does that mean? Because there might be someone listening to this that, like, I think that my mindset is focused on soccer, but I'm going to parties, I am not going to the gym, I'm not recovering. When you say like you had a strong mindset, was it because you believed in yourself? Was it because you were going to the gym, watching video analysis? Like, in terms of you say, I have a strong mindset, what does that mean?
So for me, having a strong mindset also related to what's my current situation. I would say that it's related to resilience, like I think everybody faces ups and downs, and I think the downs are the ones that define the character of someone. So in college, obviously, we had lots of downs as well, from losing games, to like maybe playing with players you didn't want to play, you know what I mean, to like having to adapt to different circumstances and everything. You got to be able to, like navigate through these downs, and I think resilience is what like defines someone. I figured that I would always believe in myself, always be resilient, and that really helped me. And I think that's what I think the right mindset to have is.
Good. Okay. Good. And then I want to talk a little bit about your draft experience too, because you had 4 amazing years. You were, I think, was it conference MVP every year or
midfielder
of the year every year? So for you going into the draft, you going into senior year, are you thinking I'm going to be number 1? Are you thinking I have no idea? Were you speaking to someone before the draft? Like I think Inter Miami are going to pick me. Like you got picked 15th. Yeah. So were you from 1 to 12 thinking why is everyone passing on me? Was it a difficult? Like how was your draft experience?
Well, it was pretty interesting. So obviously once the season ends, like you're a bit on the edge because you don't know what's going to happen next. I got the combine invite for the second time, and obviously that was kind of like a good reward to have. You're part of the 44 that people want to see. So yeah, that was the first step, and obviously I had to do well in the combine. But I mean, after the combine, you know nothing. You talk to people and you talk to teams, but you don't know whether or not they really want you. You don't know whether or not they're gonna pick you. You don't know anything. They just want to get to know you and everything. You just gotta describe yourself, the best way you can without lying or anything. And if they like it, well, good. If they don't, I guess.
So what are you doing in that moment? Because you've finished your season, let's say like the start of December. The draft is like January, February.
The season ended in November because we got eliminated
after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and the draft was in December 19th.
Okay, so what are you doing in that period? Are you going to the gym? Are you practicing it?
Yeah, I was training with some of the guys, and then I was going to the gym on my own, running and just taking care of my body.
And mentally, what are you doing? Are you trying to think about nothing? Are you?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous because there's always the risk to get hurt, and you don't want to get hurt. Going into the draft. So it was a nervy moment. What you can do is just control what you can control at that point. How you eat, how you live. For me, there were no parties. There was nothing. I was locked in, and I just really, really wanted to make it. So
and then. Your draft experience, what was draft day like?
So draft day was I was in the Victory Club.
Pivo had every scarf.
Yeah, every scarf. And I was at the Victory Club, and surrounded by family and friends, coaches and everything, and we lined up, and we just waited, and it was so nervy. I was shaking. Because
you got picked 15th. So at some point when it got to like 9, 10, 11, were you wondering if
I mean, I knew it would have been hard for me to get picked because of the international status, but I honestly thought I guess teams saw how good I was. I think they're gonna, not look at that, I guess they're just gonna pick me no matter what, and that's been a surprise. I was like, oh my gosh, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? Am I gonna ever get picked? And you got all these emotions, going through you, and you're thinking, you're nervous, you're excited, you're scared, you got all these mixed feelings.
So what happens when they call you? Do you get a call from Inter Miami like, hey Yannick? What happens after you see your name on the screen?
Yeah, so my agent actually received the call, was there, and received the call I think a minute before the pick was in, and but he didn't tell me anything. He just picked up the phone, he said a couple words, and then he told the cameraman to record. I didn't see any of this. My girl told me this after the pick. And yeah, I mean, that was it. I did not talk to Miami at the combine, so I did not know about their interest. I did not talk to anybody from them. And I mean, it was a really, really good surprise.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
really,
awesome.
really good Christmas gift.
I remember the
So,
pictures. You were smiling
I
so
was-
much.
yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah.
Hubs was like
I
so
was
happy.
so happy. Bro.
Was it more relief than happiness, or both, or
Nah, it was
everything?
happiness.
Yeah.
It was happiness, honestly. It was pure happiness. You don't even think about like being 15. You just think, wow, like
I worked hard for this, and this is
yes,
the reward. Yeah.
yes.
So, and then you get picked, and then preseason. When did you have to arrive for preseason?
It was pretty soon. It was January 7th, I think,
Okay.
because we also had the rookie symposium.
Okay.
So we had a bit of a talk preparation with MLS about our first year.
Oh, I
and
remember that.
everything,
Yeah.
And luckily, it was in Miami. So
You just stayed.
yeah, I just stayed here. Yeah, we went to the symposium, and then the day after the symposium was done, we did medicals, and then we started training.
Because a lot of people think that, okay, he got picked in the draft, like that's a contract, awesome, done deal. But you don't realize, like, that's pretty much just like an invite to preseason,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So, like,
yeah.
and now you're probably thinking in your mind, like, okay, now I have to work, now I have to, like, go into preseason, have a good showing.
Yep.
And this can relate to a lot of players because obviously not like going into preseason with MLS, but a lot of players are like getting ready for a trial
Yeah.
or they're getting ready to like prove themselves or going to a new environment.
Mm-hmm.
How did you prepare for that going into preseason with Inter Miami?
Honestly, I mean, the same thing I did during COVID. You know, I try to control what I could control. Try to eat well and go to the gym, take care of my body, recovery. You know, try to get stronger. Doing gym. I mean, that's basically all you can do. You know, and then once you get there, you realize that the level is actually like higher than what you thought, and at that point you gotta adapt again.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a matter of adaptation. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's it.
So, and then in terms of like you said, like the level is way higher than what you thought it was. What do you mean by that?
Well, because you know that going from college to professional is going to be hard. You know that the level is going to be high, but also you don't know what the level is. And I was going into an environment where the level was going to be one of the highest in the world. Because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I was obviously nervous, obviously scared, obviously excited. But I mean, you don't know how good they are until you get there and you train with them.
How was your mindset there?
It was a tough. So I spent 4 months waiting for a contract because of some back and forth with Italian teams. But I mean, honestly, like I did what I could. You know, I was like, I put my mind in like I'm gonna show them what I can do well, and whatever I can't do well, I'm just not gonna do it. You know, I wouldn't try to do what Messi does. You know, I wouldn't try to dribble 4 players. I would just try to recover the ball and everything, and you know, just show them what I can bring to the team.
So when you're saying that the level was way higher than what you expected, you're going from a college roster of 30 players, you know, some players, the top 15 players are like top players, you know, good players. And then you have probably like the bottom 15 of the roster that are kind of there just a squad, like as rotational players. And then you're moving to Inter Miami where guys are paid like millions of dollars to go and play soccer. And probably you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I've got to be ready for this level. Maybe you have a lot of pressure on you. But for you going into that environment, when you're saying like they are way better, the level is way better, what does that mean? Like in terms of, is it first touch? Is it movement? Is it tactics? Is it just everything? Like
it's everything. It's everything. It's positioning, is it's first touch, is how they use their body, how they see the game. You know, luckily I have one of the best ever in my position. So he explained to me sometimes like what his thought process is, and I can tell you that is something I never even thought about. You know, it's something that you can't teach. You know, you can't teach in a 4th division team. You can't teach in college.
So this is interesting because a lot of players probably will be like, okay, I just got drafted. I need to prove everything. I'm going to go into training, smash, tackle everyone. I'm gonna like have a big ego and say like, look, you played at the camp now, but I'm here to prove myself, right?
Yeah.
Or you could go in the mindset like, listen, you've won everything. Of course, I want to work hard. I want to play. I want to compete with you, but I want to listen to you and I want to take advice.
Yeah, it's also a really particular situation, the one I was in, because not every team's got like that big of superstars. So definitely going into a trial like period, trying to like thinking like I'm gonna be the best. Like my ego is over the top. You know what I mean? That's probably the worst idea ever, because people aren't just not gonna look at you in the right way, and people are just not gonna see who you really are, and they're not gonna think you're like a good guy.
Was it
you know what I mean?
overwhelming? Like when you went in there at the start, were you like, holy shit? Like,
Well, yeah, obviously it was.
Yeah.
Obviously it was, and you know, just with the time, I guess it's just with time that it got better. You know, I just went. You know me. I went from New Hampshire to be like, you know, oh my gosh, it's him. You know what I mean? But to like being a no one in Miami.
Was it humbling?
It was really humbling, but it was also
how was it humbling?
It was humbling because I think you think differently. You know what I mean? You're on the grind again. Obviously, in New Hampshire, I was on the grind, but in that environment, in the Miami environment, I was like, okay, I'm no one. I gotta earn everything. Do
you think that was good for you though?
It was amazing, honestly. Because in New Hampshire, even if I had a bad game, I would have started the next one. In Miami, I knew that if I had a bad game, I wouldn't have started the next one. But so that's always a boost, you know, to like do better and, you know, always be locked in and, you know.
Because I can imagine like for the first 2 weeks or first week, probably you're in preseason thinking Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba, these guys. But then after 2 weeks, it's like, okay, like you're my teammate. Yeah, like exactly. I'm going to play with you. Like I'm a good player. Like I'm here for a reason.
Exactly.
So and that's your mindset again, right? Like how did you kind of figure that out?
Because, well, obviously, at the beginning, it's normal to be overwhelmed, I would say, especially for the type of players that they are and, you know, what they want and everything. But I think that after that, you also got to realize that you're not there to admire them. You're not just not there to like...
You're part of
the
team.
Exactly. You're just not there to watch them. You got to earn your spot too. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do to like show the coach what you got. You know, you're just not there as a... you know, as a spectator.
What was your biggest challenge with your mindset going in terms of like trying to be humble and trying to like prove yourself? Because like we touched about, like you could have gone in there and been like, oh, like I don't want to pass him the ball, or I like maybe you pass him the ball or pass any, like not even just them, just any MLS player that's a seasoned pro that's been doing it in the MLS for 10 years. You pass them a ball, they have a bad touch because maybe you passed it at their knee, or I don't know, you have a bad pass. Oh shit, like sorry, like or how do you just get over your mindset and like act like a pro?
I mean,
or you think you're just like that anyway?
Yeah, well, yeah. First of all, I'm like that, but I don't know. I just try to think about the next play, you know, and obviously everybody makes mistakes. Even the best of the best makes mistakes, and I think that should be something that you gotta you know, keep in consideration when you make a mistake and thinking, okay, it's fine, like just the next play, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. You know, it's hard because then you like just keep thinking about it, but making mistakes is part of it, is how you grow, and that should be your mindset going into training, you know.
Because in the first year, last year, your first year, you were in and out of the squad a lot. You were starting games, then you were on the bench, then you were starting games, and you had a pretty decent run in the middle of the season. How was your mindset when you got dropped or when you weren't starting? How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, so there was this instance where I played in Vancouver last year and we won on the road, and I thought I played pretty well. You know, I received compliments and everything, and then 3 days later we had another midweek game and I was on the stands again, and 3 days later we had another game and I was in the stands again. You know, so that was, you know, in those moments, I don't really know, like, I would describe it. You're just like, it's frustration, is, you know, it's like, what did I do to, like, deserve this? And the answer is you probably did nothing. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. You're there, you got your chance, you did well, but maybe that wasn't enough, you know what I mean, to earn your spot. So, in those moments, you can't let yourself down. You just gotta think like, well, I gotta get back again.
So how were you in training those weeks when you weren't in the squad?
I was just the way I always was, you know what I mean? I was just smiling, you know, going there and, you know, be on the grind, you know, try to run a lot, giving 100%, everything I do, even if I was a starter, you know, so that's how you should approach every training, I feel like.
And how do you feel when you're starting consistently? You're in the team Saturday, Wednesday. do you get ahead of yourself and do you think, okay, I've made it now? Are you still on the grind? Like, obviously, when you're at your low, you're trying to get back to a high. When you're at a high, are you keeping it there?
Yeah.
Are you trying to stay humble? How do you deal with that?
I think when you're a starter, for me personally, it's easy to not get ahead of myself because I know how easy it is to lose it all. So what I do is just to set goals. You know, I always try to, you know, set goals for training, you know, and try to improve every training and an aspect of my game in every training, and that kind of pushes me to like never get ahead of myself and never take anything for granted, and just, you know, to try to improve every time, you know, 1% every day, you know, and I think that helps. That should help. But obviously getting ahead of yourself is probably the worst tactic. You know, is the worst idea.
So for you, as someone that's obviously, you're very good at winning the ball back, you're very good at keeping possession, you're very good at reading the game and being in tight spaces. For someone that's playing in the MLS that's a professional footballer, what advice would you give to players that are similar to your position, right? Because you don't score lots of goals. You don't play centre-back and get a bunch of clean sheets. You're kind of in the middle doing the ugly work. Maybe you don't get noticed. For a player that's listening to this that's maybe like, damn, I feel like I have a good game, like a good game every week. I don't score loads of goals. I kind of do the ugly work, and I don't really get that much credit. What advice do you give to kind of someone in your position, maybe that's 16, 17, playing well, centre midfielder, doing the ugly work, wants to play at the next level, but doesn't really get credit he deserves?
Well, my advice for them would be to just, you know, keep going, because people who know the game know how important that position is, and how important a good performance in that position is. Even, you're right, like I don't score goals, I don't do assists, I'm not a center back who make last minute tackles. What I do is try to make it easy, you know, for everybody else, you know what I mean? Try to, you know, read the game, intercept, you know, cover ground. That's all I try to do. So, yeah, I mean, that's literally my job. Yeah. Doesn't get much recognition at first, but I think people who know the game see when a 6 is missing.
Yeah.
So.
And then at the moment, you've got a little bit of a hamstring tweak, and I wanted to talk to you about injuries because, like I said kind of in the intro, we had a player, Bolu, from USL Championship, amazing guy, and he was talking a lot about injuries. Like, you see all the good things about when we're playing, when we're starting, the wins, the MVP, all of this, but what people don't realise about being a pro footballer is the time away from the field. If you're not in this team, if you're injured, right now, for example, when you're not training, when you're not playing, how is your mindset? How do you stay positive when you're injured?
So right now I'm actually gonna stay out for a bit of time, and what I said as soon as I heard the time that I was gonna stay out for was, okay, like I can't do nothing about it, you know. I'm just gonna be a beast whenever I come back. You know what I mean? That's how I try to stay positive. I try to I don't know, set goals for myself, and I was thinking, okay, like whenever I come back, I'm gonna be a beast. Like I'm actually, like people won't recognize me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna strengthen everything. I'm gonna, you know, work hard, take care of my body, recover as fast as I can. We've got a big tournament coming up, so I'm gonna do anything in my power to be able to come back in time for that.
It's interesting because there's a lot of players, youth players, that get injured, and I always tell them, like, you can, like, for example, there's a lot of players like sophomore, junior, that maybe they do their ACL, or maybe they pull their hamstring, or maybe they pull their quad, and I'm like, you can look at this two ways. You can either feel sorry for yourself, be hurt, play video games, watch movies, eat like rubbish food and come back and just do nothing, or you can use this time to like figure out what colleges you want to go to. You can do more video analysis, right? Like watch your games back, figure out like in the video moments what you can do well. There's like two ways that you can deal with an injury. Mm-hmm. So when you're away from the field, or maybe when you're away from like when you say you want to come back a beast, what does that mean? Are you going to the gym a lot? Are you doing upper body more? If it's your hamstring, are you watching more video? Like what are you doing?
Well, what I do and what I think will help me when I come back is, you know, just be stronger, faster. You know, I can't do much with my lower body right now, but I can strengthen my calves, for example, my quads, my abductor, you know, all this kind of stuff. I just try to like still improve even though I'm not on the field. So that's what I mean by becoming a beast. Like like a beast, you know, like just try to like improve what I can improve. And just because I'm out doesn't mean that I still cannot improve. You know, I watch games, you know, I just think like how I would do, you know, what would I do in certain situations, and that really with obviously the gym part and everything, and taking care of my body outside of the facility, that's what I mean by, you know, getting better.
And then being a professional footballer, like everyone wants to be a professional footballer, right? Like you see them driving really nice cars, you see their Instagram, all the followers they have, you see them going to all these events, you see all the good things, right? What are the things about being a professional footballer that you don't think about, like the negatives, the other side of the game?
That people don't think about?
Yeah. Like, for example, let's say you're 15, 16. I want to be a pro footballer because I'm going to get all the girls in my DMs. I'm going to get the nice car, nice watch. Yeah. I'm going to go to all these nice restaurants. But what are the things that you don't think about?
Honestly, this is great. Like, when I'm blessed. You know, I feel blessed to be able to do what I love. Some things that people might not think about is maybe time away from the family. You know, we travel a lot, we play a lot of games. Even though I'm out, I miss kind of like the nervousness, the excitement before a game, which is something that in the moment you might not like, you know, being nervous all this. I'm always nervous, you know, no matter what I do, I'm always nervous, more excited than nervous, but it's a feeling that, you know, makes me feel like not great after games. You know, I don't feel well after games. I'm always sick, you know. I just don't feel okay. And I mean, I don't know, bro. I mean, when maybe you're not playing, that's something that people don't consider, is how you feel. How can you still approach training and still try to give 100% even though you're not playing, you're not going to play. That is really, really hard, you know?
Do you think that so you played at New Hampshire for 4 years, do you think that if you went into Miami after your freshman year, you would have had the same impact as if you went after your senior year?
Probably not, because I learned a lot in New Hampshire. I grew a lot as a person and as a player. And I think that has been really great for me to approach the Miami moment, because, you know, I not that I knew what I was gonna go through, but I think I knew how my mindset should have been, you know, if something wasn't gonna go my way. I think all the setbacks that I had in college kind of taught me how to move on, how to, you know, think about the next play as, you know, what the next move is.
Because there's a lot of players that I talk to that are like, Sam, I want to be a pro. I need to go and play in Europe. And I'm like, okay, interesting, but why don't you want to take the college route? Because college, like, you can go play for 4 years, get drafted, go to the MLS, or play for 4 years, go to the USL. Do you talk to a lot of players and they're talking to you about Italy? Are they more talking to you about Inter Miami?
Well, everybody wants to play in Europe, you know what I mean? But I think it's the wrong mindset to just think like, oh, I want to play in Europe. I think the right mindset should be, I want to eventually play in Europe. You know, you got to set goals. I want to, you know, make it here, make it there, make another goal, and then, you know, keep, you know, gradually going up, rather than just think I want to make it to Europe. You know, it's almost like if you think like, I want to lose 30 pounds. No, it's like, I want to do this and then do that and then go regularly to the gym and then eat well. You know, you gotta take all these steps in order to reach that goal, instead of just thinking about that goal. That's how I think it is.
If you went back to your freshman year at New Hampshire, is there anything that you would have changed about like your 4 years?
Nah, probably not. No, it was a great time. It was a great time, and I've been lucky to have really good teammates, good coaches, and good friends around me. So that made my time in New Hampshire really good, and helped me navigate through bad moments in a good way. So there's probably nothing I would change.
If there's a 15, 16-year-old listening to this that's thinking, wow, Yannick went from 4th division in Italy, Division 1 college soccer, drafted, MLS, I could really do this, like I need to just go find a good college. I need to play consistently, and then maybe I can go to like a USL or an MLS club. What are the reasons why they won't make it to be a pro?
Mainly because of what I said earlier about resilience. I feel like a lot of people give up, after the first setback. And obviously it's a path where you don't know what your next move is going to be. You don't know if you're going to make it. Like, it's a leap of faith. And I think a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are not ready for it. And a lot of people give up after the first setback. So, I think a lot of people don't make it for that. And there's people who make it because, like I said earlier, they're resilient. And no matter how many times they get setbacks, they just keep going.
And then for you, do you get a lot of people message you like, how is playing in Inter Miami? Like, how is being pro?
Oh, yeah, so many.
Really?
Too many.
What do you say?
Well, on Instagram, I don't reply. There's too many. But if it's a friend who asks me, how is it? I would say it's a dream, honestly, because you're literally playing with, like them. Like, they were them. They were best ever. They won everything. They play at the highest level possible. And, just even being there, sharing the locker room and, learning a lot from them, it's a blessing.
So when you were talking about like growing up in Italy, do you think that if you grew up in America and were playing in America, that you'd be as good as you were if you played rather than growing up in Italy?
Well, that's a question that I can't really answer because I don't really know the level in America. I think the college level is a pretty good level, no matter what people say, or at least when I was there, it was a pretty good level. I don't know much about it now, but 2 years I probably won't change that much. Yeah. I know college is a good level, but I also know that the football in Italy for me to be probably better than college level. So
really, so for someone that's listening to this, that's trying to understand. I know we touched about it at the start, but like Italian versus American soccer.
Yeah.
How is Italian soccer different to soccer in the US?
I would say Italian soccer is not much different. Like I said, besides the tactical stuff, I would say is how people approach football back home is different. I feel like there's way more passion. There's passion about it. You know what I mean? People eat and breathe football. So being around it every day, being surrounded by it every day. We don't have American football. We don't have hockey, at least at a big stage. We don't have basketball at a big stage. So all we have is a big stage of football. And like I said, being around it, being surrounded by it, and, breathing football, that's what I feel like differentiates the approach to it.
And for you, I want to touch on too, you were talking about you have like goals that you set and you're thinking about like, okay, making a strategy and a plan to get to the next level. Because you're kind of at the start, or maybe like, you're at the start of your professional career. Do you think about like 10 years into the future when you retire? Do you think about just next week? Do you think about next year? Like, how as a professional footballer do you plan for the future?
I honestly think about tomorrow. What I'm gonna do tomorrow.
What are you gonna have for dinner?
What I'm gonna have to eat tomorrow. I really try to take small steps, especially now that I'm hurt. I just try to think about how I'm gonna feel tomorrow, and I mean, like I said, control what I can control. Because otherwise, that will lead you on a path that you don't like. Being not able to change something, you know what I mean? Like not having power over something, not having power over where you're gonna play next year or 5 years. That's not good for you. That's not mentally good for you.
What's the difference in level between a good college player and a player in the MLS? Like, for example, you went to like the Combine with 40 players.
Yeah.
Not that many probably are currently playing in the MLS. Like, how do you differentiate the level between a good college player and a pro player?
Maybe that's a tough question. I would say maybe awareness, maybe obviously speed of play. But I mean, I would say like, cause obviously college players, even me, like I wasn't this good when I was in college. I had to adapt. I had to evolve. I had to improve every day. So I think a good college player with the right mindset can adapt and can evolve. Obviously, being surrounded by a good supportive team can adapt and can evolve in a really good player. You know.
And then, just lastly, I've got a couple more questions for you, Yannick. Advice for a player, a young player, 15, 16. A lot of the players listening to this podcast are 15, 16. They're trying to go to college. They're trying to just get better in general. They're not trying to be pro. They're not trying to just play Division 1. That might be their goal. But in general, they want to get better at soccer. I know this podcast, you've talked a lot about mindset. If your advice, if I'm 16 and I'm saying, Yannick, I want to get better at soccer, what are you telling me?
Just do what's in your power to get better at it. You know, just watch video, go play a lot, go train a lot, go do gym a lot. You know, ask questions to people who've been there and done that, and that's all. That's literally all you can do, and then just let it happen.
Would you ever get into coaching? Or
I don't know.
You don't know what you're having for dinner tonight.
I don't know. I actually don't know. Tonight for dinner I might have turkey. No, I don't know. I don't know if I would coach. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't know actually.
Do you consider yourself a role model?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm an older brother, the oldest brother. So I feel like I've always had this mindset of like my siblings, you know, being a role model for my siblings. So
what does being a role model mean to you?
Means show good traits that people can follow. Yeah.
People can respect, people can follow. Good. Yeah. And then, just lastly, what is your favorite thing about your life right now? What are you most grateful for in terms of your life, soccer? What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for a lot of things, but I think the most thing I'm grateful for is probably like the opportunity that I got and the people that I play with. So I got a great group of friends in my team, and a lot of mentors from now and in the past that I've had, and a lot of players that I can learn a lot from. So I think the environment is probably something that I'm most grateful for.
Awesome, good stuff. Yannick, appreciate your time, man. That was a good episode. So guys, Yannick's DMs are flooded, so don't DM him this week. I know usually I say DM the guest. Any questions?
DM me. I'm gonna try to respond to everybody.
Yeah, but if you learned something, or you were like, wow, Yannick, that really like kind of stuck with me, or that really made an impact on me, DM him. Hopefully he'll respond. But yeah, Yannick, top episode, man. Appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Perfect.